Hello and welcome to today's podcast. We have the amazing James Wilson with us today, also known as the Sleep Geek. He's the founder of Kitmate, which I'm going to ask him about shortly, and I'm going to ask him to explain a bit more about how he became known as the Sleep Geek. He's also appeared on TV programs such as BBC's Breakfast, ITV's This Morning, and has his own amazing podcast, which I just absolutely love. So hello and welcome to my podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Can you tell us a little bit more about obviously how you've got known as the Sleep Geek? Because I love that name. I absolutely love it. And I want to know a bit more about how you became the Sleep Geek and a bit more about your amazing kit.
So there's two parts of the story. There's how I became a sleep geek. I was in a school in Sheffield and a little lad went to me. I was talking about sleep and he went, now then, there's a right sleep geek, you aren't there? And I thought, I'll have that. So I went home and I registered the URL. That was probably about, it might be 20 years ago now. So that kid, he's probably like in his 30s, which is a bit scary. And I became a sleep expert because I'm a poor sleeper. So sleep is something that we inherit. And I think often we don't recognise that. We'll have a friend or a partner who's a really good sleeper, and we'll think, well, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? And often what it is it's what you've inherited. So my mum was a poor sleeper, my grandpa was a poor sleeper, and I was a poor sleeper. I was a teenage footballer for academy at Rotherham United, just didn't sleep. Exam time, just didn't sleep. Or like really that relationship many of us have between sleep and stress. But for me, there's a problem because my family made beds and mattresses. So I was a man selling mattresses who couldn't sleep, and so I hid it, as you would, wouldn't you? Because not buying a mattress off me if I can't sleep. Why wouldn't you? Rubbish. And in the mid-20s, we employed a sleep expert in the business that I was running at the time. So I'd come out. The family had always sold shops. So my family's claim to fame is we invented the cabin bed. So my dad took a bunk bed, took the bottom bunk out, put a sofa in. My grandpa, who was his father-in-law, said to him, "What a rubbish idea, Mick. No one's going to buy that." And the rest is history. Can't patent that though. So if you could, I might not be here because I'd be on some Bahamian island.
Drink a cocktail.
Yeah, definitely. So we've always sort of been in business matches. The company's called Duckers, and we employed a sleep expert. He was absolute dipstick. He was a wazzock. He was just hit like a wazzock, a dipstick. His attitude was so. A good example. I was doing early days of webinars. Doing a webinar in mid 2000s, and it was for mums. Prima baby. It told this this virtual room of mums that the reason their kids didn't sleep because they worked. But that's sort of misogynistic, like rubbish. So you meet someone like that and you think, I could do better than this. So I was a trustee of a charity called the Sleep Charity that's based in Doncaster, and we came off the board of trustees, trained as a practitioner with them, worked with them mostly with teenagers, did some additional adult training, often through it at deep bend, often in situations that probably now you look back and you go, working with sort of behavioural kids in behavioural units and working with schools, and got put forward for an audition for a TV programme on Channel 4, and I went along as mostly about the products, but with a bit of behavioural expertise with children, and my role in that programme became translating stuff into a normal people's language. So the production people was like, "You're really good at this." In fact, the commissioner of Channel 4 said to me that I was the Peter Kay of sleep, which I was offended in two ways, because I was a little bit chubbier than I am now, but I didn't think I was that chubby. And I'm from Yorkshire, so she was southern, and obviously from above Watford. We're all the same.
Yeah, I'm trying not to wet myself. I'm sorry.
We're all the same, but that is it. So what the people in the production crew like, you're really good at explaining this stuff, like to big audiences, to making it simple, but actually making it relatable. And because of my experience of poor sleep, I know what poor sleep feels like. Sleeping poor, you could be sleeping next to someone, but you feel so lonely. You feel stupid. And I've often, one of the reasons I became a sleep geek is the expertise in the sleep world treat us like idiots. They think we don't understand what poor sleep is. They think we need to be scared into sleeping better. They think that, if only they knew that if they have less than 7 hours sleep for one night, they're going to die, they might try harder. So it's this idea, often very well educated, they've gone to Oxford, Cambridge, Stanford in the States, Harvard, but they don't meet poor sleepers. They look at data, they look at research, and they don't have that care of how their words land, and that's something that as an expert, that is the thing that now really really drives me. So, I work. So I start working with corporates. So I get to talk to I've talked to hundreds of thousands of poor sleepers. I've talked to hundreds of people. I've worked with people like Next. I've worked with M&S. I'm supporting some Under Armour athletes. I've worked with the men's and women's teams at West Ham. I'm working with Coventry City this season. I've worked with like Zurich Insurance. So I work with like big audiences. But my approach is about a prescription of understanding, because if you understand yourself as a sleeper, you will then take the stress out of sleep. The irony of sleep is that the more we try, the worse it gets. So I work in sport a lot. In that environment, sports people are taught, try hard to get better. But you can't do that with sleep. And a lot of the people I work with in organisations, and they're very successful people, they have spent their whole life solving problems. They've maybe got a touch of perfectionism, and that's the problem. So as poor sleepers, we've often, we're probably a little bit more prone to stress and anxiety, and we are often driven by a sense of trying to solve this problem. The problem is with sleep is that you try and solve it, it does get worse. So my whole approach, we call it taking stress out of sleep, is all about, a lot of people in wellbeing will give you a prescription of doing. We all heard the wellbeing podcast now. It might be a fella who's American and got kids, partners that come and go, easy, relatively easy life, and he's patronising us, telling us what we're doing wrong because we're idiots. That, I've worked with everyone from England footballers to people doing shift work, 2 jobs, 3 kids, single parent. We're all the same animal though, and I think understanding we're all an animal is the important bit. So Kitmate came out of, I'd sold a company to somebody else. It'd gone a bit wrong. They'd ripped us off a little bit, and it was like, I'm going to do it now the way I think it should be done. And it's not, but the thing with this thing about expertise in well-being, I'm not the only expert you need, because my expertise is, I'm a very good coach, I'm a very good communicator. If you've got a baby with sleep problems, I can't help you. But I have got a brilliant baby and kids sleep expert who do work one-on-one with parents. I've got a sleep nutritionist. I've got someone who's an expert in sleep and neurodivergence. I've got the country's only sleep vet, so someone who works with pets, because pets can really impact on your sleep. So Kitmate is this idea that we link poor sleepers to the products and the experts that they need. That is our whole remit. So we work with organisations, we work with sports teams, we're developing some products. So we're developing a mattress and a pillow. We're doing training for PTs and fitness people, and really anything to do with sleep, we try and get involved with. And as a sleep geek, I spread this message about ignoring the sleep bollocks. I have a podcast. We're about to relaunch our podcast as Sleep Bollocks, and a newsletter, and I certify products. Those products that, like a lot of the sleep bollocks, is often products that are telling fibs. A good example is an eye mask. Really good eye mask. It does the job that you want an eye mask to do really well. Comfortable and makes it dark. That's it. Their marketing has made claims that it cures chronic insomnia, that you'll never need to use Botox again because this eye mask is so good, it will mean you will never get wrinkles, never get wrinkles. And that's based on a piece of research from the early for about 2010, about 20 people in an accident emergency ward in ICU in the States, gave them an eye mask. They found that their REM sleep improved a bit. REM sleep is where we produce collagen, and they've made a massive jump from this piece of research in quite a difficult environment to go, well, it improves REM sleep. REM sleep is where collagen is produced. Vis-a-vis, our eye mask will mean you never need to use Botox. Now, this eye mask is really good at what it's supposed to do, which is block out light and be comfortable. Will it cure chronic insomnia? Very much doubt it. Will it mean you'll never need to use Botox again? You'll never get wrinkles? No. And that's sleep bollocks, and that's the stuff. So often it's not actually the product that's problem, although there are products that are a problem. It's the marketing, it's the stories that we tell. So I'm trying to focus on and I know we're going to talk about menopause today. In that space, there is some, excuse my French, right bollocks. There is some people trying to take advantage, trying to tell you that we're all different. There isn't one thing for all of us that will help you sleep there. And that eye mask, I actually got in touch with him and said, why are you doing this? Your eye mask's quite good. And then he said to me, James, but how will anyone take any notice of us if we just say our eye mask is quite good? And that's the sad thing.
It is super, super sad. I think that's why people love you, James, to be honest, and that's why we relate with you, because there's no holds bars. The truth, you seek it out, and you're like, that's actually a load of BS. That's load of BS. And that's what we need, because especially when you get to a point where you're not sleeping well and you've tried all these fads that people say, oh, spray your pillow, buy an eye mask, do this, buy the silk pillow and all the rest of it. You start thinking of everything that you're doing wrong and you buy into any quick fix. I can't tell you the amount of sprays and eye masks that I've actually bought that I've promised that. And I'm sat here thinking, well, you needed to have launched that podcast before. I need to listen to that one.
But also, you started in the middle there, and that's what we do, don't we? We go, right, I can't sleep. What shall I do? We've not even worked out what stops us sleeping. So when my approach is like, let's start. What is it that's stopping you sleeping? Is it stress and anxiety? Is it alcohol? Is it your partner snoring? Is it your kids walking in the room? Is that blowed out mode who gets up at 4 in the morning and slams his door? That's the trigger, and then it's our reaction. So when we're working with poor sleepers, in terms of behavioural stuff, now, so you might have a sleep disorder like sleep apnea. That's a different expert you need. You might, when we're working with the menopause, actually, it's no different really to an approach I would take with many sleep problems. Some of it, a lot of it is around mindset. So it's a whole different things that could be causing. As a job, I'm a problem solver. I sleep poorly because I'm a problem solver. But actually, it's a really good skill to have. But the science of sleep is quite simple. This isn't nutrition. There isn't like macros and micros and lots of complicated stuff. Drop your heart rate, be relaxed. Drop your core temperature, be cooler. You're going to fall asleep. Feel emotionally and physically secure. You're going to sleep better. That is the simple like what the state we want to be in to sleep. Now that sounds really simple. It's not that simple to achieve, but we don't even acknowledge that. We start by I've worked with people who spent thousands, like tens of thousands of pounds on sleep stuff, mattresses, pillows, duvets, like robots you can cuddle, just like some of the stuff you see. It's just like it's scary, and they're playing to. They might use science, but the science is really poor, or they might just go, well, science is wrong, so just believe us. And it's your truth. All this stuff is your truth. What works for you? If someone is doing something I would say don't generally do, but they're sleeping well, don't matter. I don't have to be right. I just want you to sleep better. That is the most important thing.
Well, you touched on perimenopause then. Obviously, because you've spoken and been on so many podcasts regarding it, and you've obviously been on like elsewhere. That's where obviously I listened to you first. So disrupted sleep, restless legs, all those things that perimenopause brings to a woman. Is there any sort of like tips that you can help with getting through those stages of your life while you're going through obviously the perimenopause? And is it normal, obviously, that you're now waking up or you've got restless legs because of hormonal changes, or in your opinion, can you just give us some tips further?
So I think let's start for women. Sleep's hard, like just generally. So women are more likely to have sleep issues. My audiences in the organisation, I might turn up 100 people, 80 people are women. So that's not to diminish that men do also sleep poorly, but I think often for women the problems can be more complex because, so before perimenopause, the menstrual cycle, for 2 of you 4-week cycle, you're a little bit too hot for sleep. Hormonal changes affect your sleep. So this isn't just like a thing that happens to women as perimenopause starts. This is happening all the way through their lives. And it's all that old age adage in it. If it was happening to blokes, there'd be a lot more research and there'd be a lot more solutions, but there isn't. So let's just deal with that truth that we have right now. I think the first thing when I'm working like with a group of ladies, so I go to a company, there might be 30 women in the company who live perimenopausal, menopausal, and we start with like that acceptance. I think when the perimenopause can be difficult with sleep is if maybe you've always been a good sleeper. So genetically, good sleeper. You've either not had kids or your kids have slept well. You've never had a partner who's a poor sleeper. Never really had disrupted sleep. You never did think about sleep. Good sleepers don't think about sleep. They're going to sleep and they fall asleep. And then the perimenopause, and all of a sudden, like something might happen. Like you might feel a bit more jittery before bed. You might have a couple of glasses of wine. And, that's a bit weird. It seems don't normally affect me like this. And they're often, from a sleep point of view, the first sort of like sight of perimenopause impacting on your sleep. So an acceptance is sleep's going to change. No, or there's a chance that your sleep is going to change. It doesn't always happen, but I've worked with women. So just in sport, I often end up working with coaches, partners, because because and generally perimenopause, menopause, working with perimenopause and menopause, because it's impacts on the athlete, the manager I'm supporting, because it does impact on a relationship, and both people in a relationship. So and one of the things I found is that like thinking about sleep again, and that can cause a massive panic. So if you've ever like had that instance where you're like, I will never sleep again. So you might have one or two nights of poor sleep, and you're still there at 1 a.m. Like, I will never sleep again. I can't remember how to sleep, and it's often things like that. And the best way to do that is talking and acceptance. We can make it better, but having one glass of wine before bed might now affect your sleep far more significantly than it ever did before. Caffeine might now affect your sleep far more significantly. A heavy late meal now might affect your sleep far more significantly than it did before. That's we've got to accept that. And it's unfair. And often sleep, whenever we talk about sleep, there's an unfairness to it. It's not fair that my genetics for sleep are rubbish and my wives are really good. That's just not fair. But that is the way it is. And I think it's starting with that acceptance. And then it's the main ways we see sleep affected is the hormonal changes. So our reaction to stress, anxiety, and that is remembering that thing I mentioned. So the first sleep truth we always talk about is drop your heart rate, drop your core temperature. Now we're talking about the menopause, the perimenopause. Those two things are going to get affected. So it affects the actual basis of our sleep. So it's thinking about like what relaxes. He's thinking about our energy levels during the day. He's thinking about those ups and downs. He's thinking about our stress levels, and he's thinking about that hour before bed. So is our bedtime right for us in terms of our body's natural rhythm? So you may have heard things we call chronotype. We talk about sleep as a sleep type, and that's really like owls and larks. So people say, I'm a lark, I get up early, get to bed early. I'm an owl, go to bed late, get up late. Thing with that is that actually it's more like a line between the two. So you think of it like a line, and we all sit somewhere in the middle. And the way we use this when I'm working with people is we have like a 90-minute window of opportunity for sleep and an opportunity for waking. Where if we get our sleep need between those two windows, we're going to feel better because that's how our body's designed. So if you are really struggling to get sleep time and time and time again, it might be you're going to bed a bit early for your sleep time. It may be up to now that's been less of an issue because stress emotionally does tire us out. So it could be we'd be more stressed, could be less stressed, could be we'd be doing more exercise. All these things can impact on sleep need. But if you're really struggling to get to sleep, maybe move it back half an hour, 45 minutes. In the hour before, but have a targeted sleep time. So think, right. So I'll use me as an example. I'm a bit of a middle early type. So I would go to bed between 9:30 and 11, and I'll wake up between 5:30 and 7. If I get roughly 6.5 to 8 hours between those two times, I feel okay. Get 7 hours like for them shift work, getting between 2 and 9 in the morning, I always feel groggy because that's not my body's natural rhythm. So it's sort of like trying to sleep with our body's natural rhythm, and then the hour before bed, focusing on winding down. So have a bath or shower, drop your core temperature. Get ready for bed. One of the big mistakes we make is we sat there on the sofa, think, I'll go to bed now, and then we start doing stuff. You'll go and put pets out, dishwashing, washing, makeup off, brush your teeth, get into bed, have a chat with your partner. I can't get to sleep. I wonder why. Your body is screaming at you. What do you want? Do you want to go to bed or do you want to do wake up stuff? Because you're confusing me. So what your body does when it thinks you want to be awake, it produces wake up hormones. So if it's been going through its process of falling asleep and you're feeling sleepy, then you need to go to bed. So if you're ready for bed, you can go straight to bed. You've done all your stuff, put pets out, check the oven, done all the stuff that you need to do to feel emotionally and physically secure. So remember that bit, like, I am now safe. And I'm now safe and I can go to bed when I feel sleepy. Because we shouldn't go to bed if we're not sleepy. And that's one of the big mistakes we make. Like, I've got to be in bed for 10 to get up at 6. And at 10, you're not sleepy. You're just not sleepy. That night, some nights you might be, but some nights you're not. So carry on winding down. And then it's about what you're consuming in terms of your content. So you watch Question Time, you're going to get angry because people are shouting at each other, and politics now is not a nice place. If you're going to watch the news, not good. We're going to watch Luther, solving a crime. One episode of Luther, someone dropped out of the attic and killed everyone in their beds. And like we talk about dropping your core temperature, dropping your heart rate. Let's be honest. No, Idris Elba is a good-looking man. He's going to be raising, isn't he, though? He's going to be raising your core temperature. You're not going to be ready for bed then. So something trashy, something funny, something repetitive. Bake Off, they're going to make a cake. Just watch that. No, I love trash TV. Mine at First Sight is perfect before bed because you know what's going to happen, don't you?
Love
Like
that.
you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh look, two people who've got married fall out. Whoa, who would have thought it? And you feel better about yourself because your life hasn't got that bad that you're married at first sight looking for a partner. So there is like I think it's kind of like looking at that at like what you're watching, what you're consuming. No, I'm not going to tell you not to use your phone before bed. The research
That's
now
the big,
shows.
sorry to interrupt. That's one of
Yeah,
the big things. One of my other guests, she's actually bought an app to turn everything off, so she can't be on a phone scrolling social media on a phone because you do. I don't know what it is, but I've asked my clients. I'm like, do you do this as well? But you do. You scroll trash, trash, trash on social media, and then you start looking, and then before you know it, you've tried to order something you forgot to order, and then you spend loads of time on your phone, and then you're like, you are right. Your brain wakes back up.
but as well, the light off your phone's not affecting your circadian rhythm. So this idea that the phone mimics the sun's not true.
Oh,
Uh,
I was going to ask you that.
yeah. And for some people, so this is like where it's individual. For some people, not accessing their phone is more stressful than using the phone. So it's not necessarily a don't, and everyone. This is that thing where that it's saying buy an app and everyone do the same one thing is prescriptive advice that might work for that individual, but doesn't necessarily work for you or for lots of people. So I was taught this quite early in my career. One of my mates, I was trying to help him, and I said, "Oh, don't have your phone in a clock-in bedroom so you can't look at it." And after about 3 days, I'm like, James, I can't sleep. I don't know what time it is. So it's really, really like, I'm just so stressed. It's got worse. So it is this sort of like, it's not about, like, I would say, set some loose boundaries of half an hour before bed. I'm going to come off my device and not use it if that's work. But if you're scrolling your phone and it's not stressing you out and you're going to bed at 11 o'clock and you fall asleep, then that's fine. So I think it is. I am very wary of prescriptive advice because I talk to more poor sleepers than anyone else in the country, I would argue. And this is one of the things that comes up a lot. I've tried not using my phone before bed. I've tried not having caffeine after 2. I've tried having a dark room with no light. That's prescriptive advice that generally can be helpful, but it might not apply to you. And I think it's really important to kind of like listen to your body. Your body will tell you if this thing stresses you out. You can feel it. So if you're doing something on your phone, you're there like scrolling, and you get annoyed because someone from school was an idiot at school, and they're still an idiot. I'd say stay clear of social media because nothing winds you up more than that pillock from school like mouthing off at 10:30 at night, and you're like, I'm gonna. And then my wife will go, "Why are you still friends with you?" I enjoy it. I enjoy it winding myself up, but not before bed. But not before bed. So I think it's
Sorry to just, I'm going to ask you then, because obviously about the phone, that's debunked one myth. I have this myth from a childhood, and you're going to laugh at it. But my mum always told me if I ate late at night, I have nightmares, but more specifically, if I ate cheese. So, and I love cheese. I love wine. I love cheese. And I have actually
me
noticed
too.
having more alcohol at night with being perimenopausal gives me such broken sleep. It's awful. So, my other vice is cheese. So I'm like, does cheese really give us nightmares?
So the alcohol is a sedative and a stimulant. It knocks you out, don't give you sleep, knocks you out. So if anyone's out there using alcohol as a sleep inducer, that's not sleep. But also weirdly, it also stimulates after about 7 hours. 4 hours knocks you out, 7 hours stimulates. That's that thing where you have a skinful, you wake up at like 3 in the morning going, why am I awake now? Why am I'm wide awake. I feel shattered, but I'm wide awake. I would argue hangover is actually the symptoms of sleep deprivation. It's not about lack of sleep. It's not about too much alcohol. It's about lack of sleep. So that's why alcohol's a problem. Cheese is so when it comes to food, cheese is hard to digest, which if you are digesting food, your core temperature rises and therefore your sleep will be more broken and harder to achieve. So but basically your body thinks it's in work mode. If you're digesting food, your day's work is not done. It does have a amino acid which is called tyramine. That is thought to affect sleep as well. Affect the process of going to sleep. So again, if you're doing it and you're sleeping all right, it's fine. If you're not, it could be a problem. And I'm sorry to take away all your vices, but from my experience of working with women living with the menopause, that's basically what the menopause is. Don't do all these things that you used to enjoy because it's now going to mean you never feel well again. So I'll just bear it in mind. Like I said, I'm not anybody's parent. I'm not your mum. I'm not telling you what to do. Tell you what to do. But just listen to your body. I see a lot of at the moment, a lot of particularly within male sleep coaches, like expertise going, don't drink alcohol. That's fine, but I don't believe it's my job to tell someone what to do and not to do in that situation. I just think it's well, that's not helpful coaching. That's dictatorial on that, and that's not helpful to anyone.
So, do you then have your go-to pre-sleep ritual? I know you just said obviously there's nothing prescriptive, but have you got some little tips that you could say about pre-sleep? So, one's lowering your core temperature.
Yeah. So yeah, bath and shower about hour before, get ready for bed. Brush my teeth then, so I'm good to go if I need to. I would watch something trashy. Um, Most of the time, my wife does complain that we have to watch boring stuff because of me. So cause she sleeps fine. So like we will watch things. We watched that Night Train a couple of weeks ago. We're now having some right nightmares about trains crashing. So I think I am far more sensitive to what I watch before TV in terms of my sleep. But you do these things, the ones you love. I'm not particularly. There's not a lot that I do. I'm quite flexible on it. It's more about do I feel sleepy. So that 9:30 to 11 thing, if I feel sleepy at 9:30, I'll go to bed.
Yeah.
And go to sleep. I've tried. I've got a couple. I've got things that I've got like a device that I use called Emoji Sleep that I'm testing at the moment. That's been quite helpful. That stimulates a part of the brain that manages the relationship between stress and sleep. I'll use that sometimes if I'm going through a particular period of stress. Probably just for this question at the moment, I'm sleeping quite well. So when you sleep well, you do relax up a bit. So if I'm sleeping well, I'll think of alcohol. What I do, one of the things that me and my wife try and do is, so she's a bit more of a late type than me, and you often find this in a relationship that one person's a bit more like a lark, one person's a bit more like an owl, and that can cause discussions and upset. I've been in relationships, it's interesting. Anecdotally, I would say you're normally attracted to the opposite to you in terms of sleep time. I think it's part of like we have, procreation is about having children. A late type and an owl work together quite well. An owl and a lark work together quite well. One does early shift, one does late shift. Not quite so useful when you try to go to bed. I've had relationships where I've been to bed at 9:30 and they've gone, "Why are you going to bed? Do you not love me?" I didn't because they were horrible, but that's not the reason I was going to bed at 9:30. I'm a more so we have a sort of plan to go to bed together, and that is because actually, me and my wife, I love my wife. I'm very needy emotionally when it comes to sleep, and we have a bit of a cuddle before bed. Else produce sort of those happy hormones. You feel connected, you feel loved. That is, I think, quite helpful. I do suffer from allergies or like from catarrh and things like that. Sometimes I use a nose spray to sort of clear because I am a bit prone to snoring. I have that body shake where if I put a bit of weight on, I can start to snore. Have alcohol, I can start to snore. I very particularly get snoring at sort of the back of my nose. So for me, like a nasal spray is always like available to help that, but not massively like regimented on it. I think it's about rituals. So it is about that. Brush my teeth as I sort of have my bath or shower now before bed. Watch something that is trashy. Go to bed relatively de-stressed. But it's simple. I don't have a lot of markers because I think I've worked with people where the amount of things they had to do before bed, like that's created a problem because we've got a 35-minute routine of doing all these things, and it will include like putting on a hooded top, pajamas, hooded top, dressing gown, eye mask, hat, and that so that's what I've learned from working with lots of poor sleepers, that the least amount of sort of things we do,
Yeah.
the better. But have some sort of ritual so your body knows when I do this thing. These things happen. So I've worked with people. Some people have found things like magnesium useful. So about restlessness. So I do use a magnesium balm when I'm feeling particularly restless because I'm an ADHD. I'm quite prone to getting a little bit restless. My wife sat down the other night and went, "Are you all right?" Because I said to you, we're moving because I was twitching. My legs were twitching so much. It was like going up and down. So I use like a magnesium balm if I'm feeling quite restless. That helps relax me. I've got a bit of I spend a lot of time either standing up or sitting down. I'm getting to a certain age. I use like magnesium if I've got like some aches and pains. So I think if you're particularly restless, I think magnesium as a supplement can be helpful. Research is not really, really powerful on it, but anecdotally, I'd say enough people use it. I think particularly when it's delivered transdermally, so through your skin, that can be quite helpful. I think supplementation can be helpful, but also I think, again, sometimes supplementation can make overblown claims of we're going to cure chronic insomnia. I think if you've got chronic insomnia, it's probably not going to help. It could be a good ritual I again, even if the brand has not got loads of evidence, I like a placebo as long as it's not too dangerous. I like a placebo. So, like, there's nothing wrong with it if it works for you. So, I think you might want to build something like that into your pre-sleep ritual, but try not to make it over. And I like things that are more affordable. CBD often people use, again, different qualities, different, like, there's some that out there that are you might as well just have a drink of water because there's actually not much CBD in it. Bit of evidence around how it impacts on stress, but again, it isn't going to cure your chronic insomnia. And normally, when I'm working with people who sleep really bad, it's a combination. It's a combination of things. I think when we're living with the menopause, perimenopause, menopausal, the temperature thing's quite important, and I'd say product does come into this massively. So if you are sleeping under an incredibly heavy duvet, tog rating is a measurement of heat retention. I know that sounds like I'm telling you something that most people know, but I've worked with people who've bought a 16 tog duvet from John Lewis, and then when I've asked them why, they've gone, the man in the shop told me that that meant it were better. No, that's about measurement of trapping heat in, trapping moisture in. So feathers, down, man-made fibers, they trap moisture in. I like alpaca. Alpaca fleece lets your body breathe really well. I know you're in Gainesville, aren't you? In Retford, there's actually one of the country's biggest alpaca duvet manufacturers. They make duvets and pillows. That works really well. When I was selling product, I once got a proposal of marriage from a woman living with the menopause because she bought one of these alpaca duvets and it changed her sleep environment so significantly. I had to turn it down. I think she already had some habits, so she wanted to. She was a potential big image, but I'm not saying it works for everyone, but I found that bamboo bedding really good because it's sort of like it wicks away moisture more efficiently than cotton. So this idea that Egyptian cotton is really good for temperature regulation, not necessarily. It can Egyptian cotton often is quite thick. That stops you breathing. Separate duvets, like have a bamboo sheet and a separate duvet. I think I mentioned it when I did the thing earlier. It's that is a game changer. That is such a game, and women generally, that's a game changer. If it's sort of like the week before your period, week of your period, swap your duvet, like have a separate duvet.
I don't know why I've not thought about that before now, because I've heard you say that before actually, and it is a good idea. I don't know why I've not got my own duvet, my own things.
It's just it really easy, like just really else. And then your mattress, the biggest complaint I get from women living in the menopause about mattresses, because there's a type of mattress called like a gel mattress, where it's like a normally foam or hybrids that springs and foam, and it makes claims that it'll keep. In fact, there's one of the bed retailers got an advert at the moment. Gillian Anderson, is telling people this mattress will keep you cool all night long, and I would argue that I come from the mattress industry. I know the technology. It can't do that. It's cool as you go to bed, but ultimately it's a foam product, and springs are more breathable than foam. And natural fillings are always a good thing to have in your sleep environment because they're generally better at wicking away moisture. So that mattress is a good choice if you want to go to bed and feel a little bit cool as you go to bed. But the biggest complaint I get from menopause women about products is that mattresses like that, where they've been sold on the basis that this will keep you cool all night long, and it doesn't. And because we've seen this raising in awareness of menopausal like products claiming things around the menopause, I was quite disappointed to see, like Emtic, I'm sure you've heard of, they had given a tick to a mattress that is made of this technology, and I've actually gone to them and said, look, can you show me the evidence that this does keep you cool all night long? Because I know the product, I know that the women I've worked with have complained about this time, not that particular product, but this type of product to me. So can you show me? I'm still waiting for that. So I think, again, one of the problems I think with the menopause, I work a lot in corporates, I work with product development. We're seeing the menopause being seen as like a really potentially lucrative market in sleep. But we're just sticking stickers on any old rubbish at times, not always, but at times. And if you're going to go and buy a product like that, make sure it's from someone who'll let you take it back, because normally now there are returns policies. And if after 10 days, 15 days, you're still boiling in that product, get rid. Get rid. It's not going to get cooler. If it's about the support, then it could, you sometimes do need time to adjust to how a mattress feels in terms of support. But if it's and feel, but if it's temperature, this right or wrong. For you, it's right or wrong. It's not going to get better. But I've worked with women who like that feel a mattress, so we'll have a lighter duvet. We'll buy a light. So it's often you're working with people just trying to find what we're saying. But those two products, like your duvet and your mattress, in terms of the menopause, are probably the two most important products you will ever buy because it can make such a difference to your sleep, like such a difference. And therefore, because sleep is the foundation of our well-being, it makes a difference to the rest of your life.
Yeah, because you are right. Literally, I was a good sleeper, and then now perimenopause, wake up absolutely soaking wet through, boiling. But I'm wrapped in all the covers, and then my poor husband's like, I haven't got any covers, and I'm obviously disturbing his sleep, which brings me on to the next thing about you talk about you being a sleep dictator. Can you tell us a little bit more about sleep dictators? You touched on a little bit, like previous maybe relationships you've had, but I'm really fascinated by.
Yes. So one of the most enjoyable part of my work is working around relationships because let's talk about really long emotional security. So if you've ever had it in your past, and when you're in those sorts of relationships, or you've maybe like you're in early in a relationship, and you don't have that sense of security, and you don't sleep well, and you don't really understand what it is, but it is that sense of I don't really know this person, or actually this person is abusive to me, either emotionally or sometimes physically. You feel that sense of because sleep is you're very vulnerable when you're asleep, aren't you? And I think it's one of the most vulnerable times of our daily lives. And sleeping next to someone like you feel vulnerable is hard. So I think there's that aspect to it of your partner could give you a real sense of emotional security. Now, often there's a problem that one partner's too focused on their sense of security. So then you might have a partner who says, like, I want to go to bed at 10 o'clock. I don't really care what you're doing. I want to do this before bed. I want to wake up at this time. I'm sleeping well. As long as I'm sleeping well, that's what's important. Now, if you're smiling at this point, if you're listening to this and smiling, you might be that sleep dictator. And I would say, stop doing that because you are laughing. So this might be.
Oh, no, not me. I'm laughing. My husband is quite a sleep dictator, whereas in he
Well,
likes to go super late and I like to go to bed earlier.
and there's nothing wrong with that. Do it separately. It don't mean there's anything wrong with your relationship. You find times together at other times. You know that's not a problem. But you need to let each other sleep as you sleep. And I've had relationships where I get to bed at half nine and said, "Do you not love me?" And that was the problem. Once to bed, then come to bed at 12, 1 o'clock with a torch on. Don't leave your torch on. Bed's not moved. Argument. I get up at 5, 6, bang about argument. So it's being compassionate. It's not a compassionate conversation. Like I said, me and wife trying to go to bed. So between half 10 and 11, our sleep types kind of overlap. So we try to go to bed in them times, but sometimes I go to bed before her. Sometimes more often I go before her. Sometimes she's shattered, but she'll go to bed before me. Don't mean anything's wrong. It's just that like that overlap. And I think it's having a compassionate conversation. Now, if you live with someone who this sounds like this is you blame me. This fella I heard on the podcast, he says that we need to have a conversation about compassionate sleep because you're telling me what to do and that's not fair. It's like it will. I work with people who like suffer from something called parasomnias, like sleepwalking, sleep talking, and one of the triggers is stress, and they're just stressed because they're being made to go to bed at a time that's not right for them. So it's just having those compassionate conversations. Like I work away a lot in my job, and because I'm so emotionally needy, I can't even describe to you how emotionally needy I am when it comes to sleep. So I will take my wife's t-shirt with her perfume on with me, and I'll put it on a pillow, and I'll give it an hug before I go to sleep in this hotel, and that makes me feel smell is so powerful in that sense of connection. So if you're going to bed before your partner, just spray a bit of their smell on their side of bed, and it just gives you that sense of reassurance. There are things. I want to be clear with that pillow, as nothing rude happens. We're not.
Because of that.
There's not. I don't take a little picture of it and stick it on there as well and give it a snort. But it makes me feel. You know what? I work with the best part of my job with male footballers is give them that advice, and then I did some work with a club and I won't tell it, and I'd said, and then all the girlfriends saw it and like, well, why are you not doing that? So this club will, and none of them admit to it, but I knew they were doing it. And some of these players are going to have some of them have played at Premiership, some of them have got quite good careers. And I know a Premiership football at the moment who, at the time, was taking a little tortoise. His girlfriend had given him with her smell on it. So he opened his bag, it filled the room with her smell. And it's lovely, would not admit to it. And I thought, is there anything wrong with that? Because smell is so powerful to that emotional connection. So I think you could do. But yeah, have that compassionate conversation. Free yourself from the fascist regime you live under. That's what we're trying to do.
it is about communication, definitely, even though like we have slightly different time things. He never feels abandoned if I go to bed earlier. And sometimes I can stay up late, but I've took on so many things. I've wrote a list of things like, oh, I might try that, I might try that. But the biggest thing that I've actually taken away is to stop having so many things to do late on, putting the dishwasher on, putting the washing on, sorting out school bags for the next day. I need to start doing all
No,
those.
we need to do it, don't we? We need to do it, but you bring them forward a little bit. Like, as you, like, have that process at 8, 9, not at 10, 11. And I know it could be hard, and I know it's facetious to go, oh, yeah, we'll just do this. But it's like a good example is journaling. So, like, a lot of people you maybe listening will journal because we read about journaling. Journaling helps unload your mind, so it could be helpful for sleep. The thing is, if certain sorts of people, if you journal just before bed, well, you go to bed with the tumble dryer going, aren't you?
That's exactly like me. I journal. I know about miracle mornings, journaling, gratitudes, and your affirmations. Meditation helps me calm down. But if I journal, literally, that's exactly me. I start thinking of all the things, and then I come up with even more ideas, and then
Yeah,
I'll
that's it.
it.
Your brain goes into work mode. So do it awake. So I'm working with a football coach, and he was doing it at like 10 to get 2 hours sleep. It fall apart, and then just move it till 5, back to 8 hours. This is that thing where we should get frustrated with expertise, where they'll go, "Oh, just journal," because they've read it somewhere. It's not rocket science, is it? But actually, as a practitioner who does this every day, I can tell you that journal is very, very individual. Meditation. So another thing I would sort of say is have a toolbox of what you're going to do when you can't sleep. So it could be meditation, could be breath work, could be listening to something like music you're emotionally connected to, a spoken word book you've read before. And this applies as you go to bed, but also in the middle of the night. It could be like mind games. So after I wake up in the middle of the night, that's my problem. And I'll do A to Z of non-league football clubs because that's something that I'm slightly interested in and it's a bit difficult. So rather than wondering like, have I sent that email? Something about the kids. We're a blended family, so my wife's ex might be up to some dipstick behaviour. Rather than that being the focus at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm trying to focus on actually like what like something that lets my mind. Like I want my mind to wander. Like the higgledy-piggledy thoughts you get before sleep, not wonder. I wonder if I've done the peakies. I wonder if I've done. So but you need that toolbox because the toolbox gives reassurance. So I think and then it's mindset, like we talked about at the start. It's acceptance. It's remembering all those times you slept poorly, but you performed amazing, all right. Because you might perform amazingly, you might have just got through the day, but you did get through the day. And I think those of us who are poor sleepers, we have got loads of stories about that. And I think it's really important to change that mindset of I'm a failure and I'm doing something wrong. 2, this is your body. It's biology and genetics. It's not your fault. Let's make it better, but let's stop blaming ourselves. And I think for poor sleepers, the most powerful thing is that mindset change. I really like a lot of my work in whatever environment I work in is around like, let's just change that relationship we've got with sleep. And what the menopause does is it can change our relationship with sleep overnight like that. And we've got to rebuild that relationship again. So we've just got to rebuild our feelings, our thoughts, our beliefs around ourselves as sleepers. But it can get better. We deal with this into the menopause. However, people want so whether people using HRT or they're not, sleep can get better. It's about there is no like this thing's going to help you. I think like all these things we talked about. It's about the individual and them finding their path to the thing that works for them.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. So, James, as you know, on the end of a podcast, I like to ask my guests to share a funny story. So we've had all sorts of different funny things just to basically let my listeners just go on with the day and just giggle to themselves like, oh, that Sleep Geek did this. So is there anything that you're happy to share with me and my listeners today?
So yeah, let's master working in mattress, like so I used to sell mattresses and you get some strange conversations with people like that sort of like, does this mattress wipe clean? I, can I wash this? Oh yeah. And like this same fella, he rang me up and said, like, as many women were there. It were really strange. Does this mattress wipe clean? Can you never ring us again, my friend? I did once go and collect a mattress. So I was delivering a mattress, I collected it and picked this mattress up. And it was friend's brother actually, picked his mattress up and all springs fell to Bob at mattress. I went, hey, what's happened here? Went, they're shagging him off him. Oh, well done. But the punchline is his wife actually split with him about 18 months later. So whether he was too good a shagger, and that was the problem, or actually wasn't that good a shagger at all, and that was the problem. But Could be either, but sleep is one of the things where I've had another one I had. I can tell you, this one required me one. Worked with one in the organisation, and she was going through the menopause, and her husband snored, had sleep apnea, and they were sleeping separately. And I did a bit of work while we're there. Like, I run dropping sessions, so we did a bit of work while we're there, and so worked on getting them sleeping together again because she wanted to sleep next to him. And she sent me an email a couple of months later, going, "Oh, James, that little light taught me, I went, brilliant, really helped without sleeping." So, because he could have got some treatment for his sleep apnea, she'd like had the separate duvet, they'd got a bigger bed so they had more space, stuff like that. Really good. Really improved our sex life. And then she went on to tell me how what the things they were doing to improve the sex life. So if I do anyone listens to this and it helps, I don't want to know how it improves your sex life. Don't send me an email. And since I'm remembering now, another one in a room. There's a condition called sexsomnia, where you carry out sex acts in your sleep. So it can be like sleepwalking. At times it can be horrific, where people actually like commit sexual crimes in their sleep. So it can be quite horrific. But I was talking about this. This woman, we were like, in a room talking. She went, "Oh, I've got that," and then proceeded to tell us what she did to a partner. Involved company's face. Can you imagine waking up to that? You've never seen like a room full of people like the just jaws drop like, and it's that thing. You do any sort of content. You're like, let's just move on to the next bit. And I didn't notice when I came out, she was eating a lunch on her own, which is not surprising. After that conversation.
Do you know what it is, James? It's your fault because you make people feel really, really comfortable.
I know, I'm not kidding. That's what my superpower is that sometimes you get a little bit too comfortable and I get a little bit awkward. But it's this thing, sleep and the two things you should do in bed is sleep and sex. And there is that connection where, like this thing, something all sports people want to ask me, like the one question. And it takes different forms. Weirdly, male athletes, it's a solo question, where with female athletes, it's more a partnership question. But it is, does an orgasm affect my sleep the night before a game? Because it's a myth in sport that if you have sex before an event, you're gonna perform worse. And some football managers have like pushed it. So there's a bit of a myth around that. Well, actually, it's brilliant before bed because you feel, as long as it's like if it's someone you love, that's even better. But gets your heart rate raised a little bit, but then drops it. Now, I would my disclaimer is it should be a 2 or a 3 out of 5 performance. We want no 5 out of 5 performances of people, because that's too physically exerting and that's going to affect your sleep. But a relaxed, you might even say lazy orgasm is gonna be good for you. It's gonna be good for your sleep. I'm sure most of us can at least get a 2 out of 5 performance relatively easily. So just go for that. So is he sort of
straight up? Well, after men, we have sex and everything, and men, have an orgasm. Is that why they just fall asleep straight away? Because they're just
because he releases like oxytocin released, that those like the hormones that released. And I was like, not all men. I'm the one in my relationship. I'm the one still talking 35 minutes later. So it's not all men, not all men would do that. But yes, it is the hormones released from sex are brilliant for sleep. They're really good for sleep. So don't ever believe that myth that sleep the day before something amazing. It really does help. If you've got a stressful day tomorrow, a big presentation, you're doing some like a marathon, something like that. A bit of a will definitely help the process of falling asleep, which I think none of us can complain about.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Thank you so much. On that note, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've actually got jaw ache. My jaw.
Yeah,
I've been trying to laugh quietly because I don't want to take away from what you're saying, but I'm literally, my jaw absolutely aches. You've been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for giving us amazing hints and tips and making us laugh. I am sure my listeners have enjoyed that so much. So thank you. So our listeners, thank you again for listening, and I hope you have an amazing week and keep your sparkle on.